What's going on, guys? My name is Martinotti, and welcome to Fallout Forward's recap of Bethesda's E3 Fallout announcement. Before we get into the actual video, I would like to say that Bethesda's event was one of the best E3 showcases in recent memory. Although I'm going to do my best to summarize it in this and future videos, if you really want to understand why it was so good, you should definitely find a stream and watch the whole thing. Now that that's out of the way, let's begin. The showcase starts with the polite introduction of Todd Howard by Pete Hines. They shake hands, make out, and have a jolly old time. He says that they have been working on Fallout 4 since the launch of Fallout 3, and begins the show with a beautiful collage and presentation of a freaking ton of Fallout 4 concept art, including many images that greatly resemble much of what we saw in the announcement trailer. After the what honestly feels like an art book's worth of collage, Howard announces that the beginning of the game will in fact take place before the bombs drop, by showing us what I assume to be the beginning of the game. We get confirmation that character customization will in fact be returning, much more in-depth than before, along with the confirmation that we can design both a male and female character, both of which will be used to create a baby that will most likely be an important part of the story. He also confirms that the person we choose to play as does in fact continue in the game. So I was originally right in saying that he survives. Suck it, random Redditor who disagreed with me. Next we meet Codsworth, our Mr. Handy, who appears to play a much larger role than originally thought, considering that we meet up with him later in the trailer. We also learn that interactions will be much more different in this game than anything we've seen before. Instead of picking options from a list, we get this speaking wheel where we choose what our character will actually say. And of course, the special skills are returning, but we could see that from the book in the trailer. After we are done conversing with our polite intruder, showing him by slamming the door in his face, we return indoors to learn of terrible news, also meaning that our time in the pre-war world could be short-lived. After that, we get a hark back to the announcement trailer by watching our characters flee, and we learn that this conference is more about the game mechanics than the actual story, something I'm kind of happy about. Before moving on, Howard gives us a small hint in saying that our characters will actually emerge from Vault 11 in 200 years as the sole survivors, meaning that either our family is dead, or that that's what they want us to think. Back to the game. We meet up post-war with our faithful companion Codsworth, who is just as surprised as he should be to see his 200-plus-year-old owner.
Mr. Howard? Is that really you?
Coddy also shows us that the humor that made past Fallout games so fun is in fact alive and well in Fallout 4. After dispatching with the robot, we learn that our faithful poster dog is in fact a companion of the player, as well as that the new companion abilities are much more fleshed out than previous games, including the ability to have our dog go to specific locations, as well as pick up items for us. As things heat up, we get the good news that VATS is still a worthwhile mechanic, and that our old friends the mole rats are still causing havoc in the wasteland. Howard describes the game as
the most ambitious and detailed game world that we have ever made,
and confirming that this is in fact Boston, as if we weren't already pretty sure. We get a bit of an overview of the area, including new places such as this treehouse, quarry, marsh, farm, and of course lots of aerials of the main city. Next, we get forced back to reality, as Howard shows us what will go on to become the precursor of our new Pip-Boy. A new Pip-Boy that has gotten a beautiful makeover, including better menus, 3D models of weapons, completely overhauled armor system, and the introduction of fucking minigames that come on holotapes. After this, we get a really cool announcement that they will be offering a personal version of the new Pip-Boy as part of the collector's edition. One that will work with your smartphone and allow you to use your Meat Space Pip-Boy to change armor and weapons for your cyberspace character. Pretty freaking amazing. Next, he announces a completely unexpected, separate game called Fallout Shelter, wherein you take control of your very own vault, playing as the Overseer and controlling the day-to-day actions of your citizens. I'll be sure to make a later video where this is the focus, but you need to know that it is out now on iOS devices and completely free. After that bombshell, we get back to the Fallout 4 stuff with a huge announcement of a complete overhaul of the crafting systems. In Fallout 4, we are being given the freedom to create brand new buildings and structures out of the scrap littering the wasteland. See an old building that looks past its prime? Demolish that bad boy and make one from scratch. Think Skyrim's Hearthfire, but taken to the 5th magnitude. Howard mentions that there are several plots of land on which to build, so be expecting some size and location limitations, but this is already way more than many of us were expecting, so I'm definitely not complaining. Next, we learn that this new crafting ability goes far beyond making shacks, to include shops, dog houses, electricity generators, defenses, and even the ability to make and defend whole towns. I'm expecting a mix between Minecraft, The Sims, and tower defense. I'm already planning on remaking my Megaton house, complete with Love Machine theme. Keeping in the theme of crafting and customization, we get a sneak peek at some of the new weapon modifications that we can be expecting, as well as that the base game will come with 50 different weapons, as well as 700 ways to customize them. Not too shabby if you ask me. Next, we learn that you can play the game as a shooter in first person, as an RPG in third person, or as a more traditional Fallout style with the first person and VATS, which apparently only slows down time, not a full stop like previous games. After this, we begin to see the humor of Fallout with a montage of our dog watching the character dress up in several interesting styles, including Robin Hood, Medieval Knight, Space Knight, Crossdresser Knight, and of course Tuxedo Bear with chain gun. Followed by a pretty cool clip show of some of the new places and returning things that we get to explore and kill. Confirmation that the Fat Man is coming back, burrowing rad scorpions, new power armor that requires you to actually enter it, not just equip it, and comes with this sexy new HUD. Our friends the Deathclaw apparently now have animated finishers that will make for some pretty scary encounters. Cage fighting is apparently making a post-war comeback, giant mosquitoes, the ability to call in vertibirds as a possible new way to fast travel, the return of the teddy bear laden rocket launcher, fucking jetpacks that are in the game for whatever reason. We can apparently shoot down the zeppelins that we saw in the teaser, as well as the Brotherhood in their vertibirds. And there will likely be some part of the story that will involve nuking a rather large area of the map. Looks cool though. And finally, after all that, we learn that the final release date for Fallout 4 will be November 10th of this year. Not the date that I thought, but I'm still psyched to have a concrete day to mark on my calendar and tattoo on my forehead. After that, we get the winding down of the event, the announcement that everyone in the actual audience is going to be going home with some stupid plastic toy that I'm definitely not jealous about, and Pete Hines says goodbye. And that does it. Thank you all very much for watching. I hope that this was enjoyable, and if you liked it, please consider watching some of my other 2 videos, and possibly subscribing for the next stuff. I plan on making a much more in-depth video of the concept art, as well as one of the crafting things, and I will of course be making many more videos as more information comes out. Anyways, that'll do it for today. My name is MacLeod, and I will see you next time.